Okay, we're going to do a little experiment. I'm going to talk over my training videos, and we're going to see if the internet finds it interesting or not. I find it interesting. I mean, I think the reason why I do what I do is a little bit unique. I'm really trying to improve my athleticism with the drills that I'm choosing, more or less. And I'm also trying to enjoy my training process. I want to enjoy showing up to lift weights every day if that's what I'm doing, and then just traditional methods. This is like a very traditional method. This is actually one of the oldest exercises. Are really alluring to me, and I really really enjoy rhythmical flow based activities. I love being in a flow state. I love the meditative nature of these movements and the counting and the breath, and just absolutely love it, and it has helped me a lot, and I want to share that. And I want to share a little bit of mentality stuff too, while I'm working out mindfulness and things, like what I'm thinking about, how the session's going, what I'm working on, what I'm working through, and yeah, I find it pretty interesting. So just doing some Mace 360s to warm up. I just picked this. I literally started the timer. Surely somebody out there can relate to me. I set the timer, and once the timer's going, so I do every 2 minutes. It just beeps every 2 minutes, and every time it beeps, I just kind of pick the exercise. And specifically for warm-ups, I got a list of exercises, obviously I do. I wouldn't warm up with anything ridiculous, but I got a few exercises I could pick from on this day. I didn't really feel like moving around. A lot of times I do rope flow for warm-up and some agility-based stuff. I'd done a lot of stuff yesterday, so my feet were kind of tired and a little sore. And oh, by the way, I'm just doing this out on my porch because it's kind of how I want to do it, so we're going to see how the background sounds go. So sorry if anything's super loud. Try to edit it out if I can. But then I transitioned over to a 360 to a barbell transition to a rotational uppercut. So 360 barbell transition to a rotational uppercut. That's what that is. I absolutely love rotational based movements. That was something that I never really did growing up, at least very much, in some ways. And playing sports and stuff obviously helps keep a little bit of rotation. But after years and years and years of barbell work, barbell snatches and things like that, I just crave rotation now. I just absolutely love how it feels in my T-spine, my hips, and everything, shoulder girdle. So that's why I incorporate stuff like this. I used to do these in my session, kind of heavy, and I found they kind of function a little bit better as a warm-up exercise. And speaking of, so I've had a couple of squat-related injuries in my left hip. I've strained my rectus femoris a couple of times from bilateral squatting. Once or twice from back squat, and then once from a Zercher squat where the bar's in the crook of your arm. And so I do very, very little, if any, bilateral squatting. The only ones I do are very light like this, and this feels good for me. The Bosu ball, I like the feeling of kind of bearing down on that ball with my feet, and I like the feeling of that kind of groin engagement you get from that. And for whatever reason, one reason or another, my hip really tolerates these very well. Probably the fact that I'm so elevated, my femurs are allowed to go out. It's that internal rotation is what gets my left hip. It doesn't really have it. And also on this day, I wanted to kind of get a pump going in the lower body a little bit to kind of get warmed up, get the blood flowing a little more. This was the last thing I did right before I started my main stuff. And I don't always do this, but every once in a while it's kind of nice. So this is the main thing in my program right now. This is a double kettlebell overhead press or military press. Kind of getting a little stretch there at the top, feels nice. So I've absolutely loved these. I'm doing sets of 10, so I'm getting some hypertrophy in my shoulders and my kind of upper trap, and I really enjoy that. That's nice. I haven't done any kind of muscle gain type stuff in a very, very, very long time. It's not my main thing. I kind of like staying a little lighter, on the lighter side, and not carrying around too much muscle mass. But it's been nice to do that. I do kind of enjoy that kind of training from time to time, and this is the only thing in my program that really looks like that. Then I got into some reverse mills with a mace. This is a 10-pound mace I was warming up with. So obviously if you go single arm, it's more intense. And so this is kind of a reverse throwing pattern. And, because I'm playing a lot of volleyball right now, it's summertime, a lot of sand volleyball. Doing this is kind of a little like, balancing out of my shoulder. So this is the reverse of a throwing motion. I'm doing the throwing motion too, and I find that having that in my programming when I'm doing a lot of hitting seems to help my shoulder. So I think that I got this from a functional patterns movement. I'm almost 1,000% sure. So basically I'm doing like what I call like a mace shovel to you call it like a lantern squat, or something. I don't really know what people online will tell me what that's called actually. And I could probably look it up, but I've seen it, and I totally just stole that from somebody. Kind of got my camera angle a little wrong here, so you just got to look at my belly as I press. Sorry. But I wanted to show you the difference between set to set. And I don't video everything I do. I video at least one side per set, and it is pretty interesting to see the differences in fatigue levels. So, that lantern squat you saw there a second ago with the mace, there's going to be a little bit of shoulder in that here in a second with these, because again, I was kind of riffing, just kind of picked that exercise like off the top of my head. I knew I was going to do some mace stuff. I knew I was going to do some kind of pulling, which we would call this pulling because this is a very grip intensive exercise. I knew I was going to do some form of pulling because I'm already pressing in the kettlebell press. That's the only thing that's like consistent every session. I do 10 double kettlebell presses every session except for Mondays. I'm doing some heavier ones, and so that's the main thing. And everything else just can't like affect the press, if you will. It's got to be pretty chill, right? So. All right here. Oh yeah, so I wanted to video the superset here. So I was doing some left arm mills, right? Some reverse mills, and I wanted to show you some. Now I'm going right into a superset of some left arm hitting. I was wanting to see what my left arm hitting is looking like. Now the only reason to train left arm hitting, I'm a right-handed hitter, is to kind of balance out my anterior oblique sling. So kind of like the front side X. I want to make sure that like my shoulders stay balanced, and this is a way that you can kind of keep your shoulders healthier for longer. And as you can see, it's a little awkward, it's like kind of hard for me to kind of get that timing right with that hip because it's hard on that left side. And being a PE guy, like in school, that was the thing with kids. You always want to have them do stuff on their dominant and non-dominant side. It helps keep you balanced, and I have 1,000% noticed that in myself, that I think I have a very healthy shoulder. I'm very lucky to have healthy shoulders, and I think it's because I'm balancing out my hitting. Now, I'm alternating in the session as well, so I'm not doing an uneven number, even though if I go out and play, I hit only with my right side. I mean, ultimately, it's your dominant hand, so it's going to get some overtrain no matter what. So, and then I went to the other side. Now, notice I switched my hand position there, so I'm playing around with the height. Yeah, I'm really just kind of riffing on this, and that's the thing I love about my training. It's very much research and development based. I'm just kind of experimenting with new stuff, and I've been doing a lot of this like kind of like movement based up and around the floor stuff. And yeah, so I think this is a separate round. I started doing, oh no, that was right, this is the same round. I did the mill, and then I would do hitting, and then I would do the lower body drill, which is the torch squat or whatever, and then I would do some passing, and that was a superset. So as soon as I finish doing the squat, I would go right over and do some passing on the wall here and just practicing my passing. And somebody might see this and be like, wow, are you trying to go pro in volleyball or something? Absolutely not. I just really like getting better, and I need to do a light exercise in between sets anyway. So the other exercise is about 30 seconds to 45 seconds. So that gives me about a minute 15 of quote unquote rest, but it's a perfect time to get something in. So I practice all kinds of stuff during this time. Sometimes I do some kind of rope flow, or sometimes I do some really light mace and club stuff to kind of practice, and that's pushing it a little bit. A ball just weighs a few ounces, so it's totally fine to bounce the ball against the wall. So you notice I'm getting a little fatigued here, like, because that kind of back-to-back superset, even though it's really light, it's got me a little bit fatigued, so I'm having to kind of really monitor my tension during this set and not kind of overdo it. Look at that. Yeah, it's getting tough. So I'm having to kind of dig deep a little bit there. Now I don't have to do that for another 10 minutes. And then I supersetted that with some sets over the bar. So working on my touch here, trying to keep my hands, nice and strong, but also like being able to absorb the ball and do it legally. So AVP rules, like it's got to be a nice clean overhand set. And it takes a lot of practice for me. A lot of people kind of just go in and can kind of figure that out pretty fast. It's taken a ton of reps for me to get these to look this way. And then, yeah, you get that when you do something kind of in a dynamic environment like that, you get the opportunity to practice some reaction time. So here's just another set. So here again, I was just kind of riffing. I've been messing around with versions of stepping across here, and I don't mind doing that. I always, if I kind of decide to riff on something on my left side, I always reciprocate that on my right. So I don't mind changing the variation a little bit on my first hand, because I can always do the same thing on the other side. And it's a slight variation. Somebody else might think that's just totally nuts to do, but you know, I find it's totally fine to do that. And honestly, I usually will do something kind of creative, because I am kind of being reactive and kind of literally just like soloing in the moment. See, I do a couple of these here where I step across, trying to get that timing just right. And then once my timing kind of got off a little bit, I just went ahead and stayed out of it. And then, so yeah, I'm pretty much equal right there per side. And again, I'm totally comfortable with doing this, because my training is just like, get moving, you know, get a mace, do, you know, we're doing some reverse mills here. So, you know, just kind of do some reverse mills and then have fun with it. So then I played around with doing a reverse mill. I did both of those in one interval. Normally I would do just one hand and rest and then the other hand, but on that one in particular I did both hands, and then I switched over to an actual mill. So this is a literal throwing motion, and I got to be real, this didn't feel very good. The reverse, probably because I just am already doing so many reps of this motion. Maybe I was kind of getting a little bit of a overworking the muscle. So in my elbow, I kind of felt it a little bit. So I don't think I'm going to keep those in. I really like the reverse mills, because again, I think it's that reverse motion is, you know, then it's reversed and it's loaded. So I think it just feels really nice on the shoulder and elbow. This, as you see, it's kind of hard to get a lot of rotation of your trunk. So it's a lot of load on that elbow. See that kind of bend back right there, you know? And so yeah, I don't think I'm going to be keeping those in. I only do this session maybe once a week, you know, with a mace. And again, it totally varies based on just what I'm feeling. So this is a 25-pound mace. This was immediately pretty tough. So what I was trying to do here is reach up high while I kind of squat low. I wanted to work my legs big time here. And, you know, I saw this, I think, a functional patterns video of somebody doing something like this. And I thought it was pretty interesting. You really feel your abs when you have to reach up high with that thing. So you have to heave it up, and then your abs kind of have to stabilize, and you're just feeling that leverage in the front hand. And also, like, I pick up a glass jug each week of water for our house, and that we get spring water. And I noticed my left wrist, it kind of like rolls, like the radius and ulna kind of roll over each other a bit. And I noticed that I did this one time and I kind of felt it. It kind of felt bad. And then I was like, I think I need to kind of strengthen that a little bit. So, you know, this is kind of kitschy and kind of silly, but I'll be honest with you, it pretty much roasted my legs. Like, I was really feeling it. And anything where I'm pulsating, so I'm kind of moving over and then relaxing, that's just the best. It's just kind of the feeling I want all the time. But having these in here, so the press is like a proper minimal program that, like, I'm doing one kind of a grind exercise where I'm really trying to get stronger, trying to gain some muscle, and then everything else in my program is about relaxation and movement and pulsatory and explosiveness and quick, fast twitch and locomotion. So it's a really nice contrast, and I do believe that as long as you have one kind of exercise that's a true blue strength exercise, that you can really maintain a lot of strength. So, oh God, shirt off, you know. I am not immune to being self-conscious with my shirt off online, because I do have the body of someone that enjoys tacos and margaritas from time to time. I am aware of that. I do not look like some fitness influencers, but hey, you know, I live my life. You know, I'm not making any compromises for my life or my health, and I love it. So, you know, and you know, we all got to just find our own way with that, you know, and it's a process and it's ongoing. But hey, I got a good life. I'm a very lucky dude, and I'm very thankful I could share a little bit of my insight with this style of training with you, and hopefully you enjoy it. And you leave a comment and subscribe, and please give me feedback if you're interested in this, or you're interested in anything that I said and you want me to just pick a tangent and go with it and do one style of video. I will more than happily do that. So I will respond to your comments. Just go ahead, leave a comment, and let me know what I can do different and better next time. Thank you.